Professor Radhakrishnan, Sri G. Narayan Swamy, Professor Vaidyanathan, ladies and gentlemen. I think the nation owes a great sense of gratitude to Professor Vaidyanathan for having brought this subject into the national mainstream. Today, BJP has it on its manifesto. ADMK has it on its manifesto. JDU has it on its manifesto. Shiv Sena has it on its manifesto. Left has it on its manifesto. Except Congress. He has failed only in that sense. But otherwise, he has brought an obscure issue which normally does not titillate a common man into a national mainstream debate. And as he very rightly said, and I will bear it out with you, last evening we had Subramania Swamiji debating on the Indian economics in Madras chamber. And for 30 minutes he spoke, of which 15 minutes he devoted to tax havens and participatory notes. Even Mr. Subramania Swamy, who did not talk, he is a politician first and an economist later, was not tempted to talk on politics despite amidst elections. And he was talking about tax havens, he was talking about participatory notes. Two, Professor said, let us not go into the maths of it. But as an accountant, I am tempted. Because without figures, we cannot live. But if you give the figures, I won't believe. Is it audited? TWC will say it is audited by PWC, so we will not believe. It is revenue stamp affixed. Sorry sir, this is Telgi revenue stamp affixed, so we will not believe. So what you will believe? Mr. Gurumurthy yesterday has exposed in the Indian Express along with a photograph of Rajiv Gandhi stating that here is a proof, now take action. With photograph. Yet people are silent. We have become so used to anonymous things, anonymity, that after 60 hours after a person stole a train and banged it into another train, in Vyasarpadi we don't know who did it. Anonymous person did it. People are still searching who did it. We are still into investigations, and I am sure we will still be, it will occupy the first page, then the third page, then you will forget. The fact of the matter is, the loot is a lot one, huge one. What is lot is debatable, but it is a lot one. The fact of the matter is, we did a quick calculation, I and Professor Kalyan Raman and MD Srinivasanji yesterday, we did some rough calculation. We found out that the British Raj was between 1857 and 1947. At that time, India's GDP in current dollar terms would be around $150 billion. And the exact wealth looted by British is estimated to be 6 to 7% per year of the GDP. That is $10 billion every year. For 90 years, they have looted us to the extent of 1 trillion approximately. But we look at it, within 30 years, we have looted 1 trillion. Who said Indians are incompetent? We are so competent that we have done 3 times better than the British. And silently, without any proof. And if any proof is asked, as Professor said, you have to provide all the proof, including photograph, bank account, audited accounts, everything. The onus is on you to prove. Government will not do anything. Professor made a detailed presentation how the money is outside India, how it is taken outside India, the reasons why it is taken outside India. But not many people know that some money is into India. The Swiss money is inside India. The Swiss money has come into India on which there is no question. You cannot raise any question. It in fact, in my personal view, converts India into a sort of tax haven. If you have ill-gotten wealth, you can use what is called as participatory notes to bring that money back to India. What is this participatory notes? I will explain to you in greater detail. It is a slightly technical thing and you have to bear out with me. I would not have attempted to do this in any other place, but Mylapore is Mylapore, so I can be confident of explaining this technical thing to you. participatory notes, or PNs as they are called, not GNs, PNs. They are a type of instrument issued abroad by foreign institutional investors, and Goldman Sachs' Indian operations will buy 100 Reliance shares in the account of Mr. John of America. For 10 years, at least this participatory notes is in circulation. Not in media, not in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, not in MBA institutes. If at all there is a reporting, it will be barest minimum reporting by the press, by the media. Most of the mainstream media has avoided it except referring it to wherever there are circulars by SEBI. The story starts something like this. FII investment into India is allowed, everybody knows. FII could be Morgan Stanley, could be Goldman Sachs, could be anybody, Citibank. But they have to register with SEBI, which is a cumbersome process. So what the government said, those of people who are wanting to invest in India get registered with SEBI. But this could apply only to institutions, like banks, like huge hedge funds. But what about individuals like Mr. John of my example? They gave him an alternative. They said, you can use the participatory notes. You don't have to register with SEBI. You don't have to come to SEBI. You don't have to give your details. Just give money to Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs will buy the shares in India for you. In fact, this was the root of the Ketan Parikh scam. Not many people know about it. The participatory note starts a decade earlier, and the JPC in 2001 came down heavily on participatory notes, and in 2001, SEBI came out with a guideline and said, participatory notes is only for outsiders, meaning it is not for Indians, non-resident Indians, persons of Indian origins, or corporates controlled by Indians. Very clear. There is no ambiguity about it. SEBI said this in 2001. Now I am moving the clock forward to May 17th, 2004. Something interesting happens. The NDA government is voted out. The UPA is still not formed. There are numerous trips to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and people are watching who is going to become the Prime Minister of this country. At that stage, Mr. A.B. Baradan, the Communist Party leader, says, let the market go to hell. Market went to hell after 5 years. Great drishta. So he said that on May 17th, 2004, 5 years exactly. And the markets on May 17th, when it opened, it took a vertical drop of 10%. Again, after half an hour, they opened the market, again it dropped. Then UPA government was formed and things went on. Then by that time, SEBI ordered an investigation whether there were some people acting to rig and bring down the prices of the stock market. They found out one FII did enormous amount of selling. It was United Bank of Switzerland, or UBS. The same UBS which you are reading now in the newspaper was the hero of that play. So SEBI promptly wrote to them and asked them, please tell us whether you sold the shares, which are the shares you sold, why did you sell? Simple. UBS replied, first,